just button in before the episode actually starts. Apple has announced that they're going to release some products in the week this is coming out. We did not know this at the time. In fact, they announced it while we were recording the episode. Just know that we might say things that aren't news-wise actually accurate anymore. Now go back to your episode. Enjoy it. Let's see if I can screw this up like I do every time.
I'm just looking at my camera. It's a mess in here, isn't it?
I mean, that doesn't exactly show nice. It's neater, but it's not.
I've lost cables. I've been searching for cables the last couple of days.
I have a drawer here that's become the cable drawer, and I already don't like it.
Do you want to see? You don't want to see my cable drawers. There's 2 little ones, and then there's 3 big ones.
Yeah.
That you can't see behind me.
In the loft in my house, I have a huge box of cables.
Hold on, look, I've got to show you these now. We're showing off about cables. Let's do it. Okay, here's one.
Oh god, that's a lot neater.
But there's more. This one's got hardly anything, and this is like my headphones and stuff.
Yeah, and Rodecaster bag.
Some more.
Oh god,
okay.
Are those metal boxes as well?
And then 3 little ones over there, just for.
Are those metal boxes?
No.
No, just.
And then these. Oh, my favourite one. USB-C cables.
From Press Red, welcome to Functions. This is episode number 16. My name is Matt Blackman, and as always, I'm joined by Eli Chure.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. In this episode, we'll be talking about Tesla's new taxis, as well as they caught a space thruster, SpaceX that is. And I have taken the chance to go camera shopping, and I want to talk to you about it. But before that, you got a new Rodecaster that you're not using properly.
I did. I got it. I took the dive. Thank you very much for the advice. I got the Rodecaster Pro 2. I'm sure it's going to be out of date very soon because now it's 2 years old. But yeah, this is my first official time doing anything meaningful with it.
How is it so far?
The headphone preamps are a major improvement. I'm sitting here with the headphones on and I can't hear any hiss or white noise at all. So that's a bonus.
That's very different. Like when you went to go and mess around with your swap. Oh, I don't know what you were doing, but I could hear so much noise in my headphones, and I was trying to get rid of it. So yeah, funny being able to just exactly connect it to that. It's
reassuring knowing what you're hearing is what's being recorded. But no, completely different interface. It's a big learning curve. I'm sure I'll use it as most basic for quite a while.
I got to try the DJI microphones recently. They're really good. Yeah. I highly recommend them. They're great.
We use them at work. We've got the number 1 and the number 2 now as well. They're brilliant.
Yeah.
So the magnets just make such a difference.
Yeah. I've got to buy myself some at some point because it's just too useful for what I do. Mm-hmm. And shotgun mics aren't useful to me because I don't often record microphone audio to other than my voice. That's all I record, and I don't need to record anything else. That's what I was trying to say there. I tell you one thing that is really good that's been happening recently. I've been focusing a lot on screen free instead of functions.
Okay.
Which is another podcast we do. And the latest recording went so well. It was a really good session.
I like the way you opened it up by saying, and I run this network.
You listen to it?
I listen to some things. You'd be surprised.
I didn't know you listened to any of the podcasts that we make here. Okay. Yeah, that surprises me. But
that's going well?
Yes, going very well. We got after that recording session, we've got 3-4 recordings planned, and we have no date for them yet, but we're going to go and record all those. And I made the best thumbnail for it, and I love it. I was so happy with how the thumbnail came out. I spent the time to isolate the Joker from the text in the background. I lit up the front of Joker's face by doing a outside stroke and then removing any point that is not on and then making it a blur. And I added the spotlight back in. I was really happy with how all of it looks.
You went through all of that effort just so that you can both say that the movie wasn't worth the time.
Yes. But that's
I appreciate that. That is dedication.
That's what I liked about it, because we all knew that it wasn't the best film compared to the last one. This is changed to screen free now, But we all had different reasons for why, and some of us liked different elements, and it was nice kind of contradicting each other a lot. That's what I really enjoyed about that recording.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of years ago, if someone said that this film was bad and I thought it was good, then I probably would have thrown a hissy fit. But being able to actually have that conversation of why you think it's bad and why I think it's good is something that I really enjoyed doing during that recording session.
I think it all, not to go on about films, but it all depends on who you're talking to. Like, if people bring up valid points based on what they've seen and what they honestly believe, then it's different than people just on the internet saying, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
I saw it on TikTok.
So that's what I was really happy about. And I got many, many responses saying that the quiz element, which I took from Waveform, which went to this and then didn't go to this show and went to Screen Free, went really well, and we're going to be doing that from now on all the episodes. The next thing to discuss, Rivian Halloween. Have you looked at it?
Is that an event?
No, it's the updates they did to the OS.
Oh, no.
It looks really cool. They've pretty much, they've got Kit, the car from Night Runner.
No way.
Yeah, they've changed
Kit,
UI.
I've got Kit sitting right next to me. It's my favorite car of all time.
And they've got the lights on the front. It's just a really cool. I think that's my favorite one because I know they've been doing this at least the last 3 years, I think, adding little Halloween treats to their car, but it looks great.
So is it a temporary update?
Yes. Yeah, I think you go into your app.
They even got David Hasselhoff himself.
Yes.
Wow. I'm watching it right now. Oh, my goodness. I want to hire one just to get that. You can't even get them in the UK, can you?
Rivians? I don't know. No, probably not.
No,
they're too big.
Oh, you'd have to get one import. They even done the shot in the desert at the end. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, my goodness. I'm saving that video right now.
That's perhaps the most excited I've ever heard you. He's off.
This is my childhood. This is the best thing. If anyone knows anything about me, let's get going.
Oh, that's cool. By the way, he showed me a toy car version of it.
That is the Trans Am. Michael Knight in Kit, Knight Industries 2000.
I haven't watched the film because it's not on any streaming service. I'm going to have to watch it now.
Yeah, and you're going to have to realise it's not a film, it's a series. But there is a film. There are 2 films, actually. The second one wasn't that great, but the first one was amazing.
It shows how much I don't know. I just know it's a talking car that everyone nerds out about. But yeah.
Well, that's cool. Thank you for that. You've made my evening. I'm going to watch that loads of times now.
But not drive it, sadly.
No. Well.
There might be another Apple event. Who knows? It seemed likely at the beginning of this month, and then they they released the iPad mini, which kind of puts a question mark on whether it is an event that's going to go forwards. It does feel like they would have probably announced it by now. Do you remember what happened last time with the October event?
Yeah, I'm sure, though, when they had an October event before, they announced something beforehand as well, and then had the event. And they may have announced the watch update or something, and then they done the event. So I still think there'll be an event, especially with the leaks that happened this week.
Yeah, I do like the idea of the Mac Mini being even smaller. It just makes sense for what it is. Although all the renders I've seen of it from random people look absolutely hideous. I do not like the look of those. I just hope that that's not actually what it's going to look like.
Are they the ones that look like the Apple TV 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the curvatures of the corners are just far too big for how small the device actually is.
And the small game, we don't need to play the small game on a desktop, really. Yeah,
but like the Mac Mini has had so much empty space for such a long time. It's just been, I don't know, fans or stuff. They just keep making bigger just to take up as much room as possible because they have the entire computer is on that chip pretty much.
Yeah. But this is Apple, and if they make a smaller footprint, they're going to kill something. They're going to kill ports. And I love my Mac Mini because I've got the ports. I've got USB-C, I've got USB-A. I've got HDMI, I've got power, I've got headphone jack, and I just don't think those things will stay around if they make it smaller.
Would they do what they did with the iMac and put
Or the breakout box?
Yeah, like they put the Ethernet in the same place as the power, right?
Yeah, and the power bank. I mean, they could do that, and that would work for desktop. I'd be happy with that. But if they put the Ethernet in there, they've still got to have 4 USBs for me, at least.
Yeah, they're probably going to put 2, is my bet.
Yeah.
And make it a lot smaller. What's currently on the I/O of a Mac Mini?
I can tell you because there's one in front of me. So I have to have a breakout on mine because there's not enough still. But I've got USB 2, not USB 2, USB 4,
wow,
HDMI, and 2 USB-Cs, and power and Ethernet and headphone jack.
Have you seen the M2 2023 Mac Mini? It's got so many Type-C ports.
Really? They changed it?
Yeah, it's got 4 Type-C ports on the back.
Oh yeah, I've only got 2.
And HDMI, obviously, they're going to need that. I forgot about that one. Although, technically, I guess you don't need it anymore. You could just have it go through. Yeah, I do. I do, yeah.
It's just convenient. But I think it's going to be a tough sell because Mac Mini M1, for the people that bought it, is super capable. I don't see a need to ever upgrade this machine. It's a second computer for most people. And if it's a primary computer, they've probably gone to the studio.
Yeah, and I don't think the studio is going to change anytime soon. That size is there for a reason. And it's using the studio, it's still lightning fast compared to the MacBook Pros that I've got. And I was using the M1 model, and that was still so fast.
Yeah.
It's insane to watch how fast that goes. The other bit of news that I do not believe will happen about this event is that Type-C will come to the Magic Mouse and USB. Keyboards as well. I don't think the USB-C is coming to either of these things.
You don't think so?
No, because
haven't they got to adhere to some sort of regulations?
Not if they don't update it.
Not if they don't update it. Okay, but they're gonna. Why not? I mean, I think they should. I think they will.
Oh, I highly think they should. But if it's not broken, they're not going to fix it.
I guess they would only update it when they release a new iMac, because then it makes sense.
Yeah.
If they release a new iMac, I saw your face. Maybe they won't.
Yeah. I would love it to happen. I'd like them to redesign the Magic Mouse to actually be competent, but I don't think I'll ever see that in my life. It's not.
I love the Magic Mouse.
That is not a good mouse. I mean, I can't really talk. I'm using a ball mouse, but that is not a good mouse. It's so uncomfortable.
The only negative is that it's the charging. I don't think it's uncomfortable. You just can't use it whilst charging, and that is annoying that you have to have it, half an hour and you have to leave it alone. When I had my earlier computers, I remember using the mouse with the little ball on the side. Yeah.
That was okay. I could deal with that one. As soon as that Magic Mouse came out, I remember just not liking it at all.
Do you know what that one was called with the ball on the side?
The mouse?
And the ball in the middle. The Mighty Mouse.
The Mighty Mouse. Of course it was.
I thought, that's a great name. I remember thinking, this mouse is so unique, it's mighty. But I've surprisingly turned into one of these people that want USB-C everything. I always looked at Android people and said, whatever, we've got our Lightning. Everybody's got Lightning ports in their house. Every Uber driver's got Lightning in their car. It's fine. I've been on the iPhone 15 Pro Max for 2 months now, and I got rid of all of my cables. I wirelessly charge my AirPods, and I don't want to see another Lightning cable ever again.
I've spoken to so many people who are not Apple nerds or tech nerds at all, and they get really annoyed at the fact that we're swapping from Lightning to Type-C. I love it. I live that life already where everything is Type-C, and it's so convenient.
Well, just realizing, I've had my first USB Type-C device was my MacBook Pro 2017 and the 15-inch version, and I remember having loads of adapters then. and I didn't have a single cable. And I've just shown you, like, I've got a box full of USB-C cables and adapters because it has been quite a while now, 7, nearly 8 years.
I think there's a new standard coming out, annoyingly, as well.
New speed or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Same connector.
Not happy about that personally, but we'll see. The other bit of news is the iPhone SE that I really want is still gonna happen. Not this year, next year. It's gonna have an OLED panel. I meant to link that to something, but it's unlinked, so I can't give you any more information on that.
Okay. Surely this device is going to be super fast because Apple are not going to release another iOS device that is not capable of doing Apple Intelligence, right?
Yeah, everything has to have Apple Intelligence.
So this could be a really good deal if it does come out.
I'm kind of sad about the idea that it might not have the action button, but
yeah,
I can't be a winner on everything. I do love the idea of this phone entirely, though, because I'm not a big phone user. I watch YouTube on it. I listen to podcasts. I hardly ever use that camera.
60 frames per second.
60 frames per second. What?
That's what you'll get
for the motion of the screen.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that. Yeah, but I'm
That's
already
terrible.
on there. Okay, like, does that matter?
It does. I couldn't go. I almost upgraded to a 15 and I couldn't do it because I can't get used to that. I've got to have the, what did Apple call it?
Flow.
ProMotion.
Oh, ProMotion.
ProMotion.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I know that a lot of people who have made that jump already can't go back, but I haven't made that jump.
Mm-hmm. And you stay where you are because it's a trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want the trick.
Yeah. One last thing, though, that we are not scheduled to talk about, and that is the leaks. Have you seen the MacBook Pro leaks for the event?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the biggest leaks that have happened this week are some Russian YouTubers have gotten hold.
Yes, I did see that. That was, 2 weeks ago that happened?
Oh, well, I saw it this week. Gotten hold of MacBook Pros with the M4 chip inside, and it seems to be a legit leak, which we haven't seen. Yeah, which we haven't seen for a long time. And to me, the biggest wow of this is not the way it looks or the speed bump. It's the fact that you're getting 16 gig of RAM and a 512 standard. 2024, folks, but you're getting 16 gig from a base model with 512.
I didn't know. Wait, what, really?
Yeah. So that's amazing. That means when I buy it, I'm getting 32 2 terabyte.
Well, you're not joking that they're going to do 16?
Well, these are the base models that have leaked, and they're all 16 512s.
Why did that take so long?
We're finally there. I think they're probably really, now they've got Apple Intelligence rolling out over the next 10 years, Federici said, they're going to have to start making their products a bit more snappy. They'll be able to handle more things at once.
I didn't pay attention to that news pretty much at all. And that is groundbreaking, really, from Apple. Every other company has gone, 16 gigabytes is normal. I almost said terabytes. Normal amount of RAM. But okay, yeah.
And it's unified memory as well, so it's not 16 like every other company.
That means that my MacBook Pro is now an equivalent of a lower level, base level, minus its CPU.
Yeah.
Everything else is now exactly the same.
Yeah. They're going to kill the value of our devices with this.
Ah, damn it. I just
But
brought
what we
this.
don't know, they might put the price up. This is Apple. They might not keep the price the same, and therefore you might just have to pay for the 16.
Yeah. I like the fact that I just realized I mentioned the iPad mini, the thing that I was so excited for them to update, and then it came out, nothing really changed. The CPU got an update. I don't know if the screen even changed or anything. Oh, it's got the new pencil.
The Pro Pen.
Yeah.
Which
is a good deal. I'd go for that, but maybe not deal. It is a very expensive pencil.
You can never say Apple and deal in the same
you can't.
sentence.
That is a good point.
I actually, just a little side note, I go on a website you should go on if you're cheap like me, called Hot UK Deals. I go on it every day.
That sounds like a scam.
It's not a scam. It's like you can contribute to it. Anyone just contributes deals they find. And I always search deals for things I'm buying. And whenever someone ever puts an Apple device in the deals, the comments go crazy because you just can't be a deal. You can't say, oh, 20 quid off of this £1,000 device.
So yeah, that is interesting because I follow The Verge and they often repeat when there's a sale going on, but it's always only for Americans, which is incredibly irritating. So yeah, I'll have a look at that.
Check it out, yeah.
Talking of money though, so here's my little uni catch up of how's it been going here. I found out I've been missing some lessons that I didn't notice were even on the calendar. That was a slight problem because they're online, but
and you're the calendar king. You must be so disappointed with that.
It's because like they're using the Microsoft system. And my God, I hate it so much. And trying to port it over to other stuff has been an absolute pain when Microsoft blocks you everywhere, absolutely everywhere. But what I was going to say is I've been doing really well at my spending. Got it down to like £14 a week. Really limited it down. Yeah, I know. Pretty much I had one meal a day. Today, I just didn't look at my bank account because I spent a lot of money. Brought some new vinyls. I don't even have a turntable here. But I'm really happy with the vinyls I got.
What'd you get?
No, I'll go and grab them. Give me one.
All right, cool. The artwork looks great already.
So I brought, I think, 5. Oh, no, what have I done? Yeah, 5 vinyls. 6 vinyls. And it's all because of this album. The Mr. Scruff album.
Mr. Scruff.
They just released this one, right? This album's from 2008.
Okay.
And I love Mr. Scruff. Great music. This was like a £45 vinyl.
£45?
Yeah, £45 vinyl.
Jesus.
That's why I stopped looking at my money because I had to get this vinyl because they don't sell it anywhere else. It's such a limited quantity.
Goodness.
It is a great album. I distinctly remember when listening to it, I think it's Stockport Carnival. That's from a game I used to play on the iPhone 4, I think. Don't remember what it was, but I think it was Round Carnival or maybe Stockport Carnival.
Okay.
The other one...
Jesus. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. £45 and you haven't even got a turntable.
No, not on me right now because I'm a student. I got speakers put in though. I've got some JBLs. They're not great, but they're really loud.
Well, maybe if you grow your fingernail and just stick a pencil in the middle of it and turn it, you might be able to hear something.
The other one I got was a Best of Marvin Gaye. That was
nice.
The only vinyl I found, and then like the day after I brought it, I found the album I was looking for. So I'm slightly annoyed, but it was a lot more money. This was like £8.
That's reasonable.
Next one was the Miles Davis album. If you don't know.
Wow, which one?
What was it? I think it's a collection one.
Nice.
I think so.
I could imagine listening to like a Miles Davis best of while studying in my dorm that looks just like yours. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
If you don't know who he is, I know that you do, Eli, but just for general, he is an amazing jazz artist. And I found his music through my granddad's discs, actually. Otis Redding, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. I knew I had to get that
single?
One. No, it is the album that it came with.
I'm just looking at those vinyls and I'm seeing maybe £60 there.
Don't worry about that. We'll get there in a sec. And then I got the new Ezra Collective album.
Yeah, I've been listening to that in the car. I want to love it, but it's a collection of all of the stuff I've been hearing. It's like there's not a lot of new things on it, but it's great. It's just not a lot of newness on there.
Agreed, but I don't own any Ezra Collective on me. Like I brought a lot of vinyls that my family already owned, but I'm here and I can't listen to it there.
You got the vinyl, that's cool.
I got the vinyl. It's another Yasmin Lacey one. I now pretty much own her entire audio library. That came with a signed version of their poster as well.
Oh, wow. And
then the final album, this, I'm not sure if you've heard of them, Hiatus Coyote.
Of course I've heard of Hiatus Coyote.
Never mind.
That's the 2008, is it that one?
I don't know. 2015.
2015. Cool. Well, the reason I heard of Hiatus Coyote was a hip-hop artist sampled them. That's how I find out about a lot of music, actually, and I always listen to samples and read the credits. Who sampled Hiatus Coyote? I can't remember. It might have been 2018, not 2008. Someone sampled them. Maybe Kendrick Lamar, I think, or someone like that.
Do you want to guess how much I paid then for all that?
Okay, so how many records we got there? We've got 5 records there.
Yeah.
I imagine the first one was the Biggie.
6.
You said that price, so there was nothing else that topped that. I think you spent £76 and 55 pence.
£120.
Oh my goodness, I was halfway there almost. I was just over. 120 quid.
Yeah.
You could have bought yourself an iPod Shuffle and bought all of those things on digital and had them forever.
I could have brought myself a desk shelf to hide all of these horrible cables that were in front of me, but instead I brought vinyls.
But that's admirable because not a lot of people value music in the way that it used to be valued because they've been trained not to, and it's nice to see that people still do. In fact, I had this conversation with a young person recently who always has a picture of a particular lady he likes up on his browser in when he's at school. So he opens it up on
That's
Google
a weird
and has
way
a
of
picture
phrasing
of her, has a picture of a famous woman up. And I said, well, when we were younger, we used to just go and buy posters of the people we liked the look of or the films we liked, and we'd be excited to get tubes at Christmas time because we know we're getting a special poster. And that concept was so alien. And I just thought to myself, we've been trained so much to devalue art to the point that we will just Google a poster and look at it, and that's acceptable. And the same with music too.
That's one thing I found quite interesting in being here, like discovering a lot of people have music taste. They just don't share it at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of more private than what I imagine it used to be like, where you shared your music on boom boxes and tried to use that as a culture thing. No,
I kind of just missed the boombox era.
I meant to say culture thing, not country. Have you seen the Teslas?
Of course. This event, I was really annoyed because it came on like 3 a.m. So I thought it was the day, which was the 10th. Stayed up. This event's not coming. Found out it's on at 2 a.m. for us. So I watched it the next day, didn't go on Twitter, didn't go on anything, and watched the event as live.
I didn't know it was going on at all. I just, like midday, the day afterwards, a lot of news articles started coming out about it, and I just started reading it.
What did you think, then? Let's give the listeners some perspective. So I guess I'm a Tesla fanboy now. I keep up with the news. I'm thinking about what they're doing all the time, and I'm planning my next Tesla purchase. You're more of a skeptic. In fact, when you found out I had a Tesla, your first words were, ugh.
So I would have said I was a Tesla fan for a while. And then I kind of found out how sketchy the security is, really. Like the fact they have cameras in the car bothers me quite a bit.
Yeah.
I also, let's put it out there, Elon Musk is so he's not the most fun person to deal with. And I left Twitter because of him, because he was an asshole on that. I don't think I need to censor asshole. I don't know. I'll find out. And I think the cars look good from the outside. I am actually a fan of the Cybertruck. Many people probably aren't, but I like it. It just reminds me of playing Half-Life 1 because of the low poly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my skeptic about the thing. And now, like with the new cars, on the fact they don't have a steering wheel or anything to say that's not where it was meant to be going, it does terrify me a lot.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting. I mean, they didn't release anything yet. Really, it's a concept car at this stage. But they let people test out this car that was fully autonomous, 2 seats and 1 screen. And for me, that's been the dream forever. But the bigger news for me is that they were also driving around Tesla Model Ys in the same way, using the same autonomous system and the same routes. And that is the winner for me, because if that's going to be backdated to everything on hardware 4, provided that it's legal in the region that you're in, why would you buy the fully autonomous car with only 2 seats and no steering wheel manual override?
I do not know. Yeah, no, I just don't know on that one. Yeah, there must be a reason. That, I guess for taxi companies, you don't want someone to suddenly start moving the steering wheel and driving it. I don't know.
Also price, they're saying it's going to cost less than a Model 3. So I guess, why would you buy a Model 3 if you could have an automated car that can take you around?
How much does a steering wheel cost? That it decreases its price by that much.
Well, it's a simple car. It's going to have a smaller battery. It's got less seats. It's light and it's tiny. It's really small compared to the other cars. There's probably less moving parts. There's not even door handles. So it's a really cheap thing for them to make in that way. And I think that's the aim, isn't it?
Do you know what I was thinking of the entire time that I saw this event? It reminds me of the little robot vacuums that you got in your house. Well, Robbie, iRobot.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to a dock. Immediately now I'm just thinking, okay, how long until they put bin inside of it and start cleaning the ground?
That's a great idea. And put all of our council workers out of business, our street sweepers. But that's another problem, isn't it? The charging is inductive, which is not the best way to charge. But, you know, he described it as owners having flocks like flocks of sheep. So I guess if you had a flock of those, some would be charging whilst others are out working for you. But when I thought of that, I thought, well, yeah, shepherds are kind of the everyman. The person who's got 10 of these is not the everyman, are they? They're kind of like the money-hungry business person who's exploiting everybody or whatnot. So
I could see the usefulness in having this for a company. Let's say, let's put Marcus Barolin in. He has a lot of people that come to his studio every so often to chat with him. It would be nice if he could say, all right, we can't pick you up. We have the Tesla that can go and pick you up and take you to our office. That would be great. Whether that is a fit, but also you got to think, like, these people who are going to own this business, do you really want to randomly on a whim like set up an account and have the free cars, let them go out, and then they come back and they've got McDonald's wrappers in them?
yeah.
Someone's been ill in one of them. Like, do you want to take care of all of this?
Yeah, I guess, though, if the alternative is having to employ people, having to pay tax and whatnot and benefits to people who work for you, that's a trade-off they might be willing to make. I can imagine other use cases for these as well. Like VIP nightclubs in London would probably have 3 or 4 of these, and with your VIP entrance, you get picked up from your house, taken to the club, taken to the next bar, or taken home. Those kind of things. People will start using taxis for different use cases.
I'm a big fan of public transport. And I shouldn't say I'm a big fan because it does suck. But the idea that it is this place that instead of creating so much emissions and having to get your own car, I much more prefer the idea of you hop on a train, you get to another place. And I'd be very happy with the idea of getting in this car if I could have a steering wheel.
Why do you want a wheel?
Because I don't trust it. I've seen them like get confused by a traffic cone, being in the wrong place just by a couple of centimeters. I know machines. There is a point of failure on every machine. Yeah. And I want to know what that is when I get in that car so I can know how I can support that car and stop it if it mistakes a traffic cone for a person.
Well, the engineers that were at the event did speak to lots of journalists that were there, and one of the things that they did say is that there is an override on the screen, or they do plan to have an override on the screen, so you'll be able to steer it or maneuver it in some sort of way via the screen. I'm guessing it's going to be some sort of a draw a path for the car, and the car will kind of get the...
I was thinking like the mobile games you get with the little joystick in the corner.
Yeah, maybe. The screen's quite nice.
Yeah, but that's another thing. Like, there are going to be so many people who are going to watch films on that and not pay attention to the road, which kind of freaks me out even more.
That's a good thing, because if you're not paying attention, then you're not panicking and you just relax. I'm just going to sleep. I'm just going to sleep. I'm going to say, oh, I've got training in Birmingham today. Cool. I'll just get in the car and go to sleep or prepare my materials on the way. This is the way things should be.
I don't know about that. I couldn't do that. But on the other subject, like, at least you can see. With the Robovan, you can't see out at all, which is like some sort of military drop-off from Star Wars at this point.
Yeah. Is that ever getting made?
Oh, God, no. There's no chance. I mean, Elon, the man who says the most magical things, says that it's going to happen, but I don't believe that can be road legal at all, at least not in our life.
Well, the front of it looks like a weapon. I don't know how that can drive around, because that will kind of, if it got into an accident, it would scoop and flip whatever's in front of it.
The first thing I thought of when I saw it is the film Metropolis, like from the 1960s.
Okay.
No, maybe 1970. No, 1960. I don't know when that came out. But it's one of the really early sci-fis, and it's got this kind of glorious design, I'd say, like kind of this nice, smooth design to all of the tech that it's got.
Like the Jetsons.
Sort of, yeah. That's all I could think of the entire time I was looking at it.
Yeah.
I'd recommend watching the film. I haven't watched it yet. I know that it's got some interesting effects that has been done.
So what film is it?
Metropolis.
You've not seen it?
I've not seen it.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought you were saying it reminds you of it.
It does remind me of it. I've seen frames from it and the poster work and VFX artists react, but I haven't fully watched the film.
Right.
I'll probably watch it on my birthday, actually.
So did you watch the whole event or just clips of the event?
Clips of the event.
So you didn't see the drone show?
No, I didn't. I have to be honest. I can't watch Eli. No, you're Eli. I can't watch Elon talk because it's so painful. I don't know whether they have a teleprompter in front of him, but he obviously doesn't pay attention to it.
He just struggles with public speaking. Even when he's in a one-on-one conversation, he struggles to... I don't know if his brain's just overworking or underworking, but he struggles to speak.
Yeah, I can't watch him at all.
Okay, so you didn't see the robots?
I saw the humanoid robots walking around.
Yeah. What are they called? I can't remember what they're called.
I can't remember what they're called either. They did fool me, I have to admit. I did think they were fully autonomous, but then I did, like, the same day go, that's not possible. They're at a state that we have not got to in technology yet.
In robotics, no. It was still quite impressive, the fact that they were remote controlled like that.
The movement, I thought, was amazing. I don't know whether they just got someone in a suit and behind them, but it was really good.
Yeah. Someone showed a photograph of how they do that. When they were in the early stages, they had apparently showed the control room, and there's like people standing in a row just basically doing all of the movements. But his vision for the future of the house really got me thinking. And I think technology doesn't do that to me a lot nowadays. There are new devices that come out and they don't capture your imagination enough. They kind of just iterate on something we've already started. And he was talking about how, you know, these should be your personal assistants at home. They should be picking your kids up from school. They should be cleaning your house. They should be making your bed. They should be making sure the dinner's okay so that you can do other things. And I know that sounds creepy and scary, but so did FaceTime when I was a kid. And, you know, it's a long time since people have started to look that far ahead. And it's interesting that people now are and showing us an example of what that could be.
I think I've watched too many movies because I'm more terrified of what we would be like to the machines than... The machines that we use on an everyday basis, we give it a program, it does the thing, that's it. Mm-hmm. I don't like the idea that this thing is thinking. If it's thinking, then it doesn't take much longer for it to think like a human or like a living thing. And I don't want it to suddenly wake up from... I don't want my toaster to suddenly wake up and then try and murder me because I've been treating it wrong because it's a toaster.
Yeah. And are we really training these things to think? I think that's the language, that's the marketing spiel, that's getting everyone excited. Like, I've got this really clever AI thing, but they are programs.
It is a neural network that we don't fully understand, and neural is how our brains work. So
yeah,
I think that's an interesting subject. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last podcast. I probably did. But
Will Smith from Noah.
I sat here and chatted to ChatGPT while watching Humans, the TV series on Channel 4, and asked it a load of questions. And I found that quite interesting. I asked it, do you think a humanoid machine is the best shape? We did discuss this last episode. I do remember that. But yeah, I don't feel like this should be a thing. Especially don't like machines that try and look human, because it's just freaky.
Yeah, and you know what humans will do with that eventually, because humans do that with everything, and it will become a bit of a weird. There'll be a weird market of humans that use these robots for things that are nefarious and not for what they're intended to be used for. And there'll be all sorts of crime that are related to these things as well. Those things will happen because they happen with all technology.
Yeah.
But I just love the idea of having help and being able to free my time up. Even if he's saying like these things are going to cost £30,000, yeah, that's perfect. I would pay the payment on that, you know, if it's 300 quid a month, because I'd be able to save that in time. And I love that idea. I've done too much adulting now. I want to give it back so these robots can take that from me.
So would you rather have a car or a humanoid robot that can do stuff?
Humanoid robot. I'll have a car and I'll not have a car and catch the bus if I don't have to wake up.
Yeah, you wouldn't catch the bus. You'd get a Tesla taxi.
Get a Tesla. Yeah, if I don't have to paint the house or, you know, fix the broken thing in the house, or, you know, I'm paying a monthly payment for this thing to look after my life. I've got time to walk and smile and look at the sun, you know. Amazing.
Yeah. The last kind of thing to discuss is perhaps the most impressive thing ever, is the fact that SpaceX caught their own thruster after it going into space on their first try.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Amazing. But it's Elon Musk, so we can't appreciate it because there's something that's under his umbrella.
Oh, no. That's not what I'm saying.
Yes, you are.
No.
Do you know what? That frustrates me. Someone said to me the other day, how can you drive that car? And this is not a child. This was an adult, older than me. I was like, what do you mean?
And you just
Elon Musk made that car. And I kind of thought, but if you question who made your clothes and whatnot, there's someone that's offended me somewhere along that line. But you just got to live life and catch rockets.
Yeah. And like, so with Twitter, I think it's way more his fault. And that's why I don't like him for that. And I left that platform. That is much more directly at him. And that's why I don't use that platform. With Tesla, I still think their technology is fascinating. I just know that the people who work there are pushed a lot, and he pretty much says something, they have to make it real as fast as possible. That's not a great work environment. That's kind of his aspect of it, that his effect on it that I don't like.
Yeah.
But with Tesla, it is more the security implications that I don't like the most.
Yeah.
With SpaceX, it's just too cool. I can't ignore SpaceX. I never want to go into space. I should put that out there. I'm quite happy on Earth. Space is quite terrifying when you think about it. But the technology that we can use from launching into space is amazing. That could affect everything.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Because that will trickle down to all sorts of things.
Yeah. And plus, space travel is just a really cool thing that we can do. Every person has sat there going, I really wish that we could fly around like Star Trek or Star Wars. And that's pretty much what SpaceX is running off of. Yeah,
I do. I like the idea of it for discovery, and the fact that the sustainability of it is great. And I like the idea that these companies are looking at things from a sustainability perspective first. Whereas, 30 years ago, NASA weren't thinking that. They're just spending money, creating lots of heat and lots of materials just so they could be in front. So it's an interesting change of perspective. But most people, like you said, they don't want to go to space. Most people don't want to go into a dark, cold room. So they definitely don't want to go into space. So the interesting and fascinating thing is, how is that technology going to make it into powering my house or, in my kitchen or something?
I should put an asterisk. I wouldn't go into space for anything. I wouldn't go there for living. But if someone said to me, right, you can do a podcast in space or a video in space, I'd take that opportunity immediately.
Listen, no, I just wouldn't.
You wouldn't join me for the function special in space?
Oh, yeah, I would. I'd be on the ground and you'd be up there, and that's how it would work. Yeah, I'll get in a driverless car, but I will not go to space.
That's really weird. Like, we're complete opposites on that.
I can breathe in a driverless car.
That is a good point, unless the it's really well sealed.
Yeah, which a Tesla wouldn't be.
No. Yeah, I think this thruster being able to be caught back from where was it back from where it launched or near where it launched?
Yeah, no, it's from the same spot.
So that's just great. I don't know how they figure that out. Does it go up into space, wait there until
Gyroscope?
it goes back all the way around, or does it?
I don't know. Leanne and Isaiah, my family, watched it live. I watched the highlights. But the whole thing took like less than 20 minutes, right? It was quick.
So it can't have been waiting for the world to rotate then.
No.
It would have to have figured out and then gone back.
Yeah,
And to do it first try is such a show off.
absolutely. I mean, I saw something somewhere where they announced that they were trying it like 4 or 5 years ago. They were looking into it. So it took obviously a long time to get it right. But yeah, first attempt. It's amazing. And now they've got this technology. The interesting thing is they're opening it up. So they're not holding that technology to ransom, just like Tesla did with their technology. They said, well, come and take it, because they're trying to encourage that development.
What I quite like is how like they've been using their, what is it called, the Dragonfly or Dragon something, to dock back on the ISS. And then Boeing tried it, and that went very well. Are they still stuck up there?
No, they've because they were going to be home Feb at the latest, but I think they announced that they can come home sooner. I don't know when though. But that's why I'm not going to space for a podcast.
Yeah, good point.
Oops, you're not coming home till the summer. Don't worry.
Only wanted to go up for an hour. Now you're stuck in for 4 months or so. Yeah.
Even if the resources ran out on Earth, I'm not going up there.
No, agreed. I'd stay here as well.
Yeah. I'd be Wally.
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 Wall-E.
He's not a wall. It's Wally.
W-A-L-L.
No.
Wally. But they're Americans, so they say Wally.
What? It's Wally. No, we're not doing...
How's it spelled?
It is spelt the way you said it was spelt, but like,
Potato. No, tomato, sorry.
this is just made me realize how ridiculous the name is, though. Like, who names a machine Wall?
I think it's explained. I think that's an acronym. I can't remember. I haven't seen it for years. 2008.
Oh, I've got a vinyl from then. Name meaning.
I'm sure it's an acronym.
This is not where I thought I'd be going. I don't see anything. I think there was an acronym.
Waste Allocation Load Litter.
E.
That's what it stands for. Earth class is the E.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did we get here? All right, on an entirely different subject. Caden got a new camera and I want to get a new camera.
Oh, don't follow fashion. Love yours. What did he get?
He got the XT3. I have been thinking for a while of getting a new camera because I don't own a camera capable of doing 4K. And I know for people saying you don't need 4K, it is something I actually want for when I'm doing editing, but I will always publish in 1080 just because I don't need to do any higher than that. I really do want to get a new camera now. I have got with me right now the XE1, which is another Fuji, and the Pro X1, which is my favorite Fuji camera that I own. And I have no other cameras. And they are both absolutely terrible with recording video. And I haven't done any YouTube videos because they're not fun to record on them. And I want to get a new camera, but I don't know which one to get. My plan initially was to wait and save up to get the FX30 from Sony.
Yeah.
But I'd buy that camera and then have no lens and wait until I can also then afford a lens. And by then, that's probably like 2-3 years of waiting to have a camera to record a video on it.
I thought you were a Black Magic type of guy.
Yeah, have you seen the cost of those?
Well, you could get a Pocket, but they're not 4K, are they, the originals?
Well, okay, so the Pocket and the Pocket 4K are both really good cameras if you record indoors or you have a full setup and you're planning to be ready.
Light,
yeah. I want to be able to grab this camera and go into the middle of Norwich and record a video. I'm not likely to do it because I'm terrified of what people would think of me while I'm sat there talking to a camera. But I want that to be an option if I ever need to. And a small camera is great for that, but not too small, as I'm about to bring up. Fuji just released the XM5, which is a really good camera. For £800, you get 6K at 25 frames a second, I believe.
Okay.
It is a really, really good deal. I don't like the size.
Too small?
Far too small. I've got the not the XM, the XE1 here.
Yeah.
I think that's what I said. And I find that camera too small. I don't like it. And I like my cameras to actually be complicated. And they've made this camera really simple because it's targeted towards vloggers.
Right.
This is where I've been thinking. I don't know what camera to go for. I know that you went for the A6400.
Yeah.
But the reason
Very
why
happy with my choice.
I like Sony a lot, and I would go to
I'm about
Sony.
to purchase my third.
Of course you are. I like Sony a lot, and I would buy a Sony camera, but it would be far too long for me to get a lens. I'm already in the Fuji ecosystem thanks to my granddad.
Yeah.
So it seems to make sense to me that I stick with Fuji.
Well, that was my question. Are they still using the same mounts?
Yes.
In the new... Okay.
Which is
well, then it's a no-brainer.
so useful. Canon, take a lesson from Fuji. One system, please.
Yeah. Because now Canon are on, like, they were EF and now they're something else, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what they are.
I was looking at like a camera I had and I was looking at the new system and I was like, why? Why is there a new one? Stop doing this.
Yeah. What I would say is Sony, a lot of the E-mount stuff is cheaper. When you look at equivalent lenses and you look at the other mounts, the Sony mount tends to be the cheapest. And there's loads of stuff out there. They're not so... Fuji is a little bit niche. It's not as mass market, even though it's like the brand.
Yes.
You know, you're not going to find as much of a range as you will for other lenses.
But I think
especially some of this smaller stuff.
They have had the X mount for such a long time that it's kind of collected. I think I think they've been on the X mount since I was born, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So that's almost 20 years. That is a good chunk of lenses that can support it. Not all of them are going to be great. Like the ones I've got are from 2012. They're going to be slower lenses to the current ones when it comes to autofocus. But I don't use autofocus on Fuji cameras because they have a button that's so useful.
What's the button?
It's an autofocus button separate to everything else.
But don't all cameras have that?
Yeah, they have the top bit, right? Where you hold down the camera button. Every time I do that, I accidentally click too far and I take a photo.
Yeah.
And I just prefer to have a separate button.
Yeah. I wish that someone could just make a camera that has the intelligent focus of a phone, because you've got this lens that can do so much more than a camera lens, but you just haven't got the processing power in these cameras that you have in a phone. This phone focusing is unbelievable. The amount of faces it can track in real time and keep in focus and exposure. And, you know, the focus systems on Sony's are really good, but they're not a patch on those things.
I'm telling you, if like Apple released a camera with a mount on it, like a proper camera, I'd buy it in an instant.
With a sensor.
Yeah, because it's just, they have nailed the OS so much. And if I could also have the App Store, that'd be even better, because then that means I could go, here's the Blackmagic app, I can use it in this way instead. And I know that's overcomplicating it. Samsung has given it a try. So many Android cameras that have existed in the past, it's never gone very well.
No.
But I do think if Apple did it, they'd be pros at it. They're really good.
I filmed some stuff the other day, a live lounge type thing. 2 Sony cameras and an iPhone, just for a safety wide kind of profile shot. And when I looked back, I was so disappointed to see that the best footage for that particular setup was my phone. I couldn't believe it. Without cropping in and whatnot, just as it was, it just looked better out of the box.
I'm thinking for the next Screen Free, we might record it on our phones, because one of the main things I've been told about is that people wanted to be able to watch it as well.
Yeah.
So that might be the best solution. I do know that phones are a great solution for many people. I don't like using them for my YouTube videos specifically, And I also know that I don't earn any money from this from my YouTube channel at the moment. So buying an expensive camera with hopes that it can be useful for this doesn't seem to make sense. Yeah. But going for those kind of cheaper cameras that you need for starting up a channel, that makes sense. So I thought I'd bring this to you because I know a lot of people out there sit at their desk shopping for ages trying to figure out the best camera, and I thought, why not make it into content and try and decide which camera. I can tell you which camera I'm sold on at the moment, which is the Fuji X-H2.
Yeah.
Which is H2.
Click this.
That is the one I really would like to get because it can do 6K as well. And it's not the fact it's 6K. I want those frames. I like slow motion for getting rid of movement. As you know from the Can video I did in college, I'm happy to be able to shoot at higher frame rates. I know I'd have to swap storage. And I just feel that is a really good camera. And yet I know the new... Did I link to the wrong thing? Yeah, I linked to the M5. Very funny, Mac. Haha. I know that the M5 really makes sense for all of this. I just don't like the size of the camera. And it's not even about the looks. It is the size of the camera that really bothers me.
Buttons, yeah. When you're shooting as well, it depends on your style. If you're shooting something and you have to be quick or set something up quick, you want as many buttons as you can to be able to just have things even on shortcuts and whatnot. I
know many people who do not like the fact that Fuji has all of the dials for everything you need, but I really personally like it a lot because I like complex things that take a while to learn. They're entertaining to me. It's like trying to figure out a puzzle, as well as once you know that entire system, it is so fast to update anything.
Yeah. What are Fuji like with support in terms of software and kind of, I always think of Fuji as, honestly, the analog cameras when we were younger, Fuji were the cameras. And I just can't imagine they've jumped into the digital world as successfully as other brands like Canon.
As someone who owns the 2012 X Pro 1, I would still buy that camera today. The images that come out of it are amazing. They're not high quality, but the color science is amazing. The sensor, I don't know what it is. I've never searched up about this camera, but I just love it. It is the look of the camera because it is a beautiful looking camera. It is the color for me that really matters, and the controls. I can tell you that Fuji has done very well swapping to the digital, and I don't think they even produce a single film camera now, which isn't much of a surprise, nor does Canon or Sony. But there are companies out there like Hasselblad that still make film cameras, even though Hasselblad is very expensive. They also make very nice cameras. But yes, the HS2 is the camera I am thinking, which is 1,200 or something. I know.
Oh, do you need 6K that badly? I understand 4K crop and all that. That's how I shoot. I shoot everything wider than normal with 4K.
It is not the 6K that matters to me. It is the frame rate that matters to me.
Okay. And what's the frame rate at that?
I haven't checked fully yet.
It's obviously going to be 30 frames at 6K, surely.
Hopefully, because that's what I'd like to shoot at.
It's all down to processing, and those, again, sadly, they're not going to have the power of an Android phone.
Let's have a look. What have they got? It might be slightly too big, based on I just read it's a 40 megapixel sensor, which is a lot.
Yeah. I think we as tech lovers have just got to be honest about why we want something Mac.
Yeah.
And I've started to be honest about this myself now.
This is why I thought I'd discuss it.
You just like it. You just want it. Like, stop trying to say any other reason, because there isn't one. And that's why you don't know the stats. You want it.
Yes, you're right. It is the camera I want. I mean, if it was going to be based on what I'd want, I'd buy the FX3 with the Sigma lenses and a proper film lenses as well. but I don't have that money. And this seemed like a good alternative. Plus, it's Type-C, that is another requirement of mine. All cameras, they have to be on Type-C now. And anytime that I run out of battery, it is very useful to be able to plug it quickly into Type-C.
Yeah. That's nice.
I guess the camera I should go for is the XM5. I just do not like the size at all. It has all of the specs I want as well. And I don't like the dials.
Or just save up, get the FX3, buy yourself a cheap little pancake lens and just use that for a little while. FX30, yeah.
But I have so many Fuji lenses. I've got my...
Trade them in. eBay is now free to sell and buy on eBay. I've just sold 700 quid's worth of stuff the last 2 weeks. No fees.
I couldn't do that. I love my Fuji too much. I still take photos. One of the things I've taken up while I'm here, I've linked it also in the sheet. Photography. I've been doing that a lot while I'm here, and street photography is just so much fun. I've been really enjoying doing that.
I'm now going to your Insta.
I couldn't give up the X Pro one for a while, I don't think.
Wait, let me on this. Will. Are these your photographs? Wow.
Yeah.
What's this building?
That's the brick.
That's the station, right? Yeah, that's a lovely picture of the station. I like photography.
This is all because I spent like a day with Caden comparing our cameras, and then we went out late at night and started taking photos. I have a funny story I can tell you in a bit. And we were just comparing our photos because Caden has also uploaded his. I think I linked that. Yeah, I did. And yeah, I do prefer the images out of mine, but I think that's because I've spent a lot of time adjusting them afterwards because I know the software.
Yeah. And is this you guys in the podcast studio?
Yes. That was also taken.
Nice in there.
Yeah, that was also taken on the X Pro one. I just really like this camera. It has a really good low light. I don't think it does get noise, quite a lot of noise in there. But I think that capability of those harsh blacks is just something I like a lot in my style. And I just like this camera. The only company I don't seem to like is Canon. Anytime that I look at their cameras, I don't like the look of the cameras, the sensors, and every image or video that comes out of them feels so flat to me.
Yeah, I do think Canon kind of dropped the ball. When they had the EOS range out, they really converted a lot of people to shooting on that form factor, and had it 5 or 6 years. And they had the what was their full frame? I can't remember what their full frame cameras were. I've forgot the model names now. And everybody else just picked it up and really started running with it. And then they changed their mount and moved down to the smaller cameras.
Yeah, the mount.
And they lost me then. And I'm sure they lost a lot of people then.
Yeah. So I guess the logical choice is go for the XM5 and then maybe...
Go for the XM5.
Maybe update the H2 if I actually gain money from what I'm doing.
There you go. Or just sell all your stuff on eBay.
I can't do that.
Get over to the Sony, spend 2K on a camera.
I am going to sell the smaller camera that I currently own because I just don't like it at all.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about the XT3, which was the one that Caden had, it felt terrible. Like it felt like a kind of cheaper plastic on the top, which I wasn't a fan of because I've been used to this all metal design. And the wheel it had on it, I really didn't like. It has this wheel, and it just wouldn't move. But he did also buy an older one, so it could have been that they actually do.
Yeah. Might have to take it apart and do a nice little refurb on it. People do all sorts. Because cameras, most of them are weather sealed, or they claim to be weather sealed. People believe that, and they take it out in all sorts of conditions, and it can sometimes be a risk buying a second-hand camera. I
found out something recently. There are companies that sell lenses with Type-C ports in them so you can update the firmware.
Yes, yeah.
When did that become a thing?
that's been a thing for a while. And it was before Type-C. There were like micro USB lenses and whatnot as well.
I didn't know this at all. I didn't know that people were upgrading their firmware on lenses. I didn't know we got to that point yet.
Absolutely. I think Sony even do a few. But a lot of it, from my understanding, was when you were using lenses, knowing that you were going to have to use conversion rings and whatnot, and then you could change firmware and stuff like that on them, depending on what cameras they go to and whatnot. But yeah, I think from now on with my Sony, I'm just going to buy Sony lenses. I tried out the Sony wide, I think it's 11mm, and compared to my Sigma, as much as I love the Sigma, it just made the Sigma look a bit soft. And I am just going to stick with Sony, even though it costs that a little bit more.
I think
from now on.
Also, I think your Sony A6400 is the same size as the M5. I haven't checked that, but
okay.
Do you think that is a good size for a camera?
Yeah, I could go a little bigger, but it's okay. I just think the screen's too small on the Sony, and I'm going to start shooting when I'm using a gimbal. I'm definitely going to start shooting with a 5-inch or 6-inch external screen, or my phone has a screen, because now I can do that.
Yeah, I did see that, and that is really cool with Sony's, but you can also do that with Fuji's as well now.
Yeah.
The camera, the H2, has an Ethernet port on it.
That's just unnecessary.
I think that's really cool.
No, it's not. Nobody's going to use that. It's like when I used to buy, well, I didn't, when we used to have VHSs back in the day, and there'd be these random ports on the back that no one would ever use. What were they?
No, I can 100% see a reason to use the Ethernet ports. But let's go to the, like, as you said, I'm a Blackmagic fan. They've got a lot of the streaming cameras that stream over Ethernet. I don't know if it's PoE. It's probably not PoE.
No, it will be, what's the format we use? Oh, I forgot what it's called.
But like that is a great system, and to have that built into your camera, it would, for me, would
NDI.
Yes, for me would be incredibly useful, because it means I could just use this as my camera for everything I do and for podcast recordings. That's why I like the idea of that. But yes, I agreed. HS2 is a bit much.
You could just use the micro HDMI for podcast recordings, surely.
Yeah. Have you tried micro HDMI?
Yeah, I use it all the time.
And
actually, I've got a funeral coming up. I seem to be the funeral guy now. Yeah, it's a long story. I filmed the funeral a year ago, maybe.
Who films funerals?
Everyone since COVID. So in COVID, I'd done my first funeral, and it was live streamed, and I just live streamed one camera because everyone was on lockdown. I couldn't go near the people. A lady I used to work for her husband passed away. It's really strange. I went on a balcony. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere near. I filmed just like this wide of the funeral, took a sound feed from the desk and left. Didn't even say goodbye or hello to anyone. Then I'd done one about a year ago, a multicam funeral, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh my God. Can that be on a
it was
t-shirt?
So cool.
A multicam.
And I've got another one coming up. But the multicam one, I had one camera on, one camera looking at the pastor, I guess, and the, where people do the speeches. One camera facing the crowd or the congregation, and one camera on the walkway where the coffin comes up and down. But I put that on my gimbal and remote controlled the gimbal from my other phone and just spun it left and right so I could track the coffin coming back and forth whilst on OBS switching between scenes that I'd made. It was amazing. It was like a one-man production. I had old people like in Jamaica and America going, how do I turn the volume down? It was great. So I was managing the chat of about 60 people while I was filming my 3 cameras and 6 scenes. Some of the best work out there, whilst trying not to cry because I actually knew the person who passed away as well.
I want to thank you so much. You've just named this episode. Multicam Funeral is a great name for the title.
I'm going to take a behind the scenes. It's November the 1st, the funeral. I'll do a BTS so you can see my setup.
That's so weird, though. We've gone from live streams for music events to funerals. I never thought we'd make that jump, but okay, yeah.
How did I even get to funerals? What was that about? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The long story short, HDMI, yeah.
Every micro HDMI cable I've ever used has broken within the first time I've used it. Every time.
Really?
Yeah. I used that really, really small HDMI cable on the Sony cameras behind me, like this little point and shoot.
Okay.
I used that once because the mounting port is right next to it. And if you just try and mount it, it snaps that straight off. And then I brought a new one to use with my next camera and it died. And I'm not going to bother with micro HDMI. If it's got a full HDMI port in it, I'm happy. I'll use it. If it's got, I don't remember the name of that cable. The pins, what are they called?
Pins?
Hang on, I'm on the Blackmagic. I know they do.
Pins.
They do a special version of their ATEM with them on.
Was it like a proprietary connector or something?
No, it's a connector on a lot of film cameras. I just don't remember the name of it.
With pins?
I am calling it pins. It's probably not a pin. Give me one.
Is it a circular connector?
Yes.
SDI?
Yes, that's what I'm referring to. Yeah, SDI.
Yeah.
I'd use the SDI. I know that's also can be easily damaged if you don't know what you're doing, and I don't. So that I'd worry about that. Oh, I have got a fun story to tell you. So that night that me and Caden did night photography, street photography, right?
Yeah.
We were taking photos of random things, really enjoying taking photos. It was a really good time. Trying not to make this sound weird, but I think by doing that, it's making it sound weirder. And we come to this bit next to the train station, this little pathway, and we think that's very nicely lit. And I start taking photos, and well, Caden starts taking photos, and then I start taking photos, unaware that there was a homeless guy there.
Yeah.
And he kind of
in the frame.
He was in frame, but that was the problem. He thought we were taking photos of him, and I didn't notice him. He was like he jumped out of the darkness to try and terrify me, and I just shut down. I didn't say anything. The only response I said was like, "No, I didn't take any photos of you. I wasn't doing that. I didn't. I was pointing at the floor, trying to get the light. I think I've even got the photo there. If you go back to the Instagram page, I think it's the photos afterwards.
Okay.
With the building, the clock building. Yes, the last image that's this kind of leaves on the bottom and you can see legs. That's the photo.
Oh, God.
He absolutely terrified me. I stopped saying anything and Caden started talking and saying like, no, we weren't doing that, and trying to convince them. And then 3 police people arrived behind us.
Oh.
Panicked me even more.
Save the day?
Yes, because the female police officer was also into photography and just looked at the photos and ended up talking about photography instead. And then we got that all sorted. But that was a terrifying moment.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, like, if you're doing street photography, you have to be prepared to get punched in the face. I remember going to New York with a photographer. His name's Jason. And he's a street photographer. And walking down the street with him, he shoots on film. We'd be just having a chat. We're walking, Manhattan. And he would all of a sudden stop in front of someone and just take a picture of them as they're walking.
I couldn't do that.
Carry on. Like, I'm talking a meter away, stops them in their tracks or whatever, jumps out, carries on. And I said to him, you're going to get me in trouble because I'm walking with you in New York. We're going through these areas. And he said, look, I've been hit lots of times, but I do it for the art and I don't care. I love it.
I couldn't do that. Like me and Caden were discussing, like, is it possible for us to even try and take photos of people that we do not know in street? Because if someone pointed a camera at me, I wouldn't be happy about it. I'd want to be asked permission at least first on whether that's allowed. And I don't feel like asking afterwards is also the best approach because you've already taken that photo. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good discussion to have of like whether it is a good idea to take photos of people that don't know they're having photos or anything like that.
Nightclub photography is really interesting. So I've done that a few times, and there's a language, like people are doing something interesting, which sounds really weird to someone who's not a photographer. But when you see people doing something interesting, either dancing or an expression or a vibe you like, and they're standing in the right place, I kind of just gesture to them, and I don't even know what that gesture is. Like, I'm going to take a picture because you look good, and take it. And most of the time, they, especially with club photography, they're enjoying themselves, so they realize and they take the picture.
I think like fine. You're in a very different situation there. A lot of people, when music starts playing or you're in a group event, you have forgotten all of that. And you are focused on, I'm listening to music I like, I'm with people I like, I'm happy. That's all that matters. If someone asks you something that could possibly interrupt that, you're just going to get it away and agree to it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like when a cookie comes up on your website, you want to get to that website, you agree to whatever you want so you can get back to that website. That's how I see that when it comes to music events. Anyway, I think that's everything done.
But if you're on your way to work, you don't want someone jumping out saying, "You look good right now. Let me take a picture."
I've been doing this thing that I walk around because I've been walking around with my camera with me all the time now, and I see photos that I think will be really, really good, and I don't take them because I just don't want to interrupt the people at all. There was
I think you've just got to do it.
I don't know if I can do that.
I think it's a confidence thing, and if there's something you really want to do and you carry on taking your camera, eventually you're just going to do it. You just will.
Yeah. Well, that was the camera talk section of this podcast that I actually quite enjoyed.
Yeah, I love that. I'll let you know when I get my issue is, you can take this out of the pod. I'm looking at 6400s. I've got them alerts on Facebook and eBay. But now I'm thinking, do I just get the 66? But then my cameras won't match. And is it more important for me for my cameras to match exactly in terms of look, or for me to get the latest or the newest for a similar price?
I think it depends on what it's changing. Is it the same sensor?
It's got a new processor, it's got a new sensor, and it's got a new focus system. Which I could. It depends.
Have you seen any comparison photos or videos on it? It could be that like the color science is exactly the same, but the sensor
it's not.
It's not.
It's not. It's been updated on the 66. Yeah, it is different.
Then I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I know. It's annoying because then I'm thinking ahead. Well, if I get that, then I might replace my other two with these later on. There would be that option. So, but I definitely need a third. But no, I'm happy with what the 64 gets me. Have I told you I've started shooting a documentary that I've been talking about forever and ever? Yes. I've actually started now. Yeah. And the stuff is looking great, the footage we're getting. We shot in a warehouse. So the first shoot, we're meant to shoot in a record shop. Not a record shop, a guy who fixes Technics 1210s. We didn't get him, but we shot in Tom's warehouse. Yes, vinyl. So we done the intro just in where you guys, the radio station. Forget their names now.
Transient Radio.
Transient. We shot in there for the first scene. We just shot with Tom recently as well in a warehouse, and the stuff just looks amazing because I'm trying to light it in a really. I don't just want it to be nice and bright and fully lit from the front.
Oh, that reminds me.
So we're doing a lot of kind of backlit stuff with just a fill light rather than a key light, and it just looks absolutely amazing. I really want a mist machine. That's what I need now. I've just got a need for a mist machine or someone just to spray some mist in a few of my scenes.
Have you gone with the cheaper things first, like the ones in a can, mist in a can? Because I'd recommend starting with mist with a can before going through a full machine. Yeah,
well, the only thing is I know people with DJ gear and stuff, they might have one. I can't, hold on, let me make my screen bigger.
It's not focusing. No, I haven't got.
No, it's not. I can't see anything. It's just like a couple of white dots. There's a dial I can see.
Spoiler, that dial is it. That's the ISO.
It's just got the numbers on it. Yeah, it says, like an old school camera.
Yeah.
Nice. Just dial it in straight away. However, having that tactileness, kind of, at least you have an idea of how your thing is working. It's like cars. People who drive automatics and never driven manual don't understand how the engine is braking or accelerating, or how you just don't have an awareness of what your car's doing.
That reminds me, I just got a car.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, I didn't want it.
Oh, stop being silly. What'd you get?
I got a free Skoda.
Nice. For free.
Yes,
All I heard was free. I didn't hear what the car was
Skoda.
because you never get free ever again for a car. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I got it for free. It's okay. It's terrible speakers, but I expected that.
Replace them. It doesn't matter. But you've got a car. Like that's your freedom. That's amazing. Go wherever you want in the country.
I can get with a
Or
train.
any country.
You can check out Eli's work on his socials or on his podcast, Where the Keys At. To follow me, I'm at Matt Blatt on mastonapp.uk. This episode was edited by me, Matt Blackman, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Functions. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.